Hello YouTube, Ronan Kazi. I might have figured it all out. What up YouTube? Some more Ghost Recon Breakpoint. If you follow the channel at all, you know I have an affinity for getting in helicopters and Ghost Recon. It's one of my favorite things to do. I also like to have a little certain style for these videos. So it's something different, but it's consistent among these videos. So if you watch these videos, they're all the same. I've decided to do a story mission. It's relatively easy. What I want to talk to you about today was timing. And I want to give you some backstory real quick. When I was growing up, I was about 12 or 13. I wanted a guitar. My parents were divorced, so my dad got me a guitar. A Fender style guitar. And that's Roxy, everybody. Roxy's the toy poodle that doesn't know that I'm recording on YouTube, Roxy. Anyways, he got me that guitar. Also, that very same Christmas, there used to be a multi-testing machine that you could hook to your car's engine, and it would do everything. Compression, everything else. And that's the big dogs came down, so they're not barking, but Roxy's having a fit, chasing everyone around. Hi, Macy. Hi, Caesar. And now they're going to fight over bones. My dad bought me this gift, the guitar and this engine monitor, and guess who never used them? That would be me, YouTube. And the reason I didn't use them is because even though I wanted them, I didn't have any inclination to fix cars, nor did I have inclination to play an instrument. And it was a situation where my dad, just trying to keep me happy, maybe felt guilty about the divorce because it was back in when people didn't get divorced. And so he got me those gifts. Flash forward to my youngest son, Dimitri, who wanted the guitar. And I ended up buying him a very nice guitar. A guitar so nice, in fact, that he's never had to replace it. He's got other guitars, but it's a Fender Stratocaster, and it was sweet. And a decent amp. What was the difference between those two scenarios? He was already in band. He already could read music. He was a percussionist in his school band. But he eventually had a friend to play the guitar. And that kind of spurred him on to playing the guitar. And so some of the things about this channel will seem a little delayed to you. I compare it to other channels all the time, channels that I like. And what's really important to me is the content. Not necessarily the games I'm playing, but what I'm talking to you about. In my head, I keep a thread of all this stuff. Sometimes I go back to it. This recently, the podcast or the videos I've been doing all kind of are connected. This is connected from yesterday. I talked about a little bit about goals, but today I'm talking about timing. And I bring up my childhood experience with timing compared to my son's timing. And I'm comparing it to the channel because as it gets bigger, I will put more effort and more time into maybe the audio, that the audio is maybe a higher level. But in my work life, I often came across people I worked with that would complain that they didn't have the tools, they needed this, they needed that, they needed everything. And when you get them all that, they still didn't produce because it's not the tools that what makes the channel, it's the content. You may hate how I cut the videos. You may hate my black and white noir filter on this. You may say one of the best things about Ghost Recon Breakpoint are the graphics, and I'm just ruining it with my stupid aesthetic. Hopefully you're here for the conversation. Not every topic I'm going to talk about is going to resonate with every person. When I listen back to these every day at 4:30, sorry, today's was jacked up because it was scheduled for tomorrow, because when I scheduled it this morning, I'm an old codger and I make mistakes. I listen back and I try to listen to it fresh at 4:30. Okay, what are you saying today? And I hear myself talk to you, YouTube. And what I realize is a lot of times I have a thought, I get halfway down the thought, and then I'll kind of skip because my assumption is you understand what I'm talking about. I understand I don't always talk in complete sentences or complete thoughts because there's a feeling, you can feel where I'm going. How do I know this? I have all those years of experience working with people. I once had a friend who, unfortunately, because of business, we became not friends, but he was a person I really valued in my life, in my work life. And people that I've worked very closely with understand. They eventually get Ronin speak. They understand it. So why am I so pompous that people have to? Well, before I say that, this is normally when I ask you to like, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, share, comment when the comments work. Hit the notification. Trying to go to, I even forgot where I'm trying to go to 500. Thank you for getting me to 350. I appreciate everyone that's helping out. I really appreciate it. So, why am I so bold that I think people, it's not that. People see the value in what I'm saying a lot of times, and they accept these faults in me. As my mind is making these connections, they're with me real time. They'll have ideas, and I'll just riff off their ideas, and then at the end of the discussion, we're down the road where we need to be. And oftentimes I would say to this person, it's done. Like we'd have a problem and we would work it out right there. He'd go, well, it's this. And I would just go, well, and then this, and we could do this, and we could do this. And I would just say it's done. Now, that didn't mean it was done. It meant the planning and what we had to do to complete the task was done. And it just took us to fulfill that. Here's what the military taught me: how to fulfill, how to actualize all this stuff. When I was a kid, I'd have these dreams. I want to be a guitarist, but I didn't want to put in the work. It hurt my fingers, and I didn't have any musical aptitude, and I didn't have any training, and it was never going to work. But my father indulged me. What the military did is it honed all that. And I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to lead people. I didn't want to paint stuff. I like driving boats, but not the kind of boats that made me drive. It's not a natural thing for me to drive a boat. It was very mechanical in my head. I had people that worked for me. There's a gentleman. He knows who he is. He was a BM2 in the Coast Guard at San Francisco. He was awesome, and he was the best natural boat driver I ever met. That guy was awesome. If you ever come across this, my friend, and I told this to your face many times, he was awesome. I'm not that kind of boat driver. Very mechanical. But I could get shit done. I was an E6, he was an E5, and he was E5 with like 13 years. I was an E6 with 6 years. When he met me, I was maybe like an E6 with 7 years. And I promised him, I'll help you make rate if you just I'm going to give us a lot of work and I'm going to get shit done. So people put up with me with my dumb little talking because there's some value. You maybe put up with the lack of video or the video's not so good. So I completed the mission. Now we're going to go out and roam. And always the objective of all this roaming is to find another helicopter. If I could start parachuting and end parachuting, YouTube, there'd be happiness in my life. And apparently I'm going to get some Ubisoft Connect things. Thanks, Ubisoft, for non-existent points that don't mean anything to me. So hopefully you're here for some of this stuff. You might not agree with everything I say. There's times when I just know what I'm saying because I've done it so many times. I'm an old man. You could tell me there's better ways, but I've tried a myriad of ways, and there's some ways the best. And then sometimes, like in relationships, I don't know. I suck. I'm not going to say I'm weak, but I have nothing more. It's a very personal thing in a relationship. It's like fitting pieces of a puzzle. How am I going to tell you how your puzzle pieces fit? A lot of people don't even know themselves. How am I, a stranger, going to know you? I don't know you. What I do is I try to give you a similar situation I'm in that you can relate to, and then you can maybe adapt it to fit in your life. So we're talking about timing, so that's a big point. This channel, as it grows and gets bigger, imagine this, YouTube. Imagine if we got to God forbid, 10,000 followers. And let's say the channel was monetized enough where I could make, let's say I was making $100,000 a year. Well, what I would do is I'd hire someone to help with all these other things. Never started YouTube for it to be my income. I want to share stuff with you. I think I told you I started playing the Division 2, and it was just like, holy crap, how are these people keep failing on these things? It's just obvious to me. And I told you I've had people come in my life. I had recently had a person that I mentored a little bit at one of my jobs, and they took a job I really disagreed with, a promotion, and I told them it wasn't going to be that good. They took it anyways, and they learned for themselves. It was horrible. And I'm super excited that that person has come back in my life, and I can help them out. And it's not an I told you so. It's just you got to learn. Everyone's got to learn that for themselves. So YouTube, timing's important. You got to have goals, but timing is important. And sometimes I'm not asking you to be a hermit or hermit-ess. I'm not asking you to be in a nunnery or a monastery. I'm not asking you to be celibate or anything like that. But there's a lot of times I wasn't ready for relationships, but I had relationships. And I cringe when I think back to them because maybe they're just placeholders. I was never going to be anything serious with that person. As I got older, there was a time, a lot of complicated things, but the person said to me, for whatever reason, how I got to this point, the person said, is this going anywhere? And I said, just no. I was really honest with them. I wasn't going to marry him. Now, kudos to that person to asking me if I was going to marry them, and kudos for me telling them, no, I wasn't. And there was no animosity. We were both very mature about it. It just, I wasn't going to do it. I wish I could say I was that all the time. I have not been the best person my whole life. And that's why I try to share it with you. Some things I'm super passionate about. Sometimes when I'm doing the recordings, it's late at night. I'm an old man. I'd rather do it early in the morning. I'd rather go to Golden Corral at 3:30 for the senior special. Yes, I'd love to do all that. But sometimes I got to do the videos later at night. So if you hear that I don't have a lot of energy, might be a subject I might not be sure about. Maybe I think I'm going to ramp into it. I might just be tired. Some of the stuff, when I'm recording it in the hot spot and I feel passionate about it, I'm going to go all out. I want to thank everyone. The Diablo, Stop Playing Diablo, it's got a lot of views on it. Now, part of that is because the title is a little bit how it is. But I appreciate everyone that stopped by the channel to do that, and I agree with that. So, tonight, Baldur's Gate 3 has been released. I did not do what the developer said and delete it off my disk because I thought I had tomorrow, but I'm an old codger. So it's doing it. When I get done with this video, I'm going to start playing it. I can't kind of stand the beginning. It's not as easy to move the characters, and I want to go, I don't like it. It's different. But I think the gameplay as I got further on, it's pretty good. It's a good story. Timing is everything, YouTube. And it's nothing. But if you want better for the channel, it's coming. I just don't want to invest millions and millions of dollars into this if you don't even like it, if you don't like the main thing. I could have the best sounding podcast, and I see a lot of podcasts that are great sounding, and I get rid of them immediately. And then I have podcasts that and YouTube videos, I see the audio's not as good as mine, and I delete those immediately. So please, I want your feedback, but I'm trying to give you the content because that's really the important thing. So YouTube, please like, subscribe, share, unsubscribe, resubscribe, comment if it's working. And think about timing. This is Ronan Kazi, out.